Welcome to Tzu Chi This week. I'm Anita Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up in this week's top stories, we take a look at the progress of Tzu Chi's recovery efforts in Ormoc and Palo of the Philippines almost 1 year after Typhoon Haiyan. Tzu Chi's free clinics in Paraguay celebrates 10 years of helping impoverished residents in South America. And finally, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan help a mentally challenged brother-sister pair rid their home of clutter. It will soon be the 1 year anniversary since Typhoon Haiyan made landfall and unleashed unforeseen devastation in the Philippines. Almost a year later, a lot of help is still needed for affected communities, and Tzu Chi's assistance continues to reach these survivors. At the end of September, Tzu Chi launched Cash for Work programs in both Ormoc and Palo for residents to contribute their strength in rebuilding their homes and communities. Despite the language barrier, through the volunteers' hand gestures, Marlon Barbosa still managed to fit the windows without any error.
We're really excited that we will soon have a place to stay, because the temporary shelter we were staying at previously was really overcrowded and hot.
Many families like Marlon joined Tzu Chi's Cash for Work program in Palo to play a part in building a place they may soon call home.
We're very excited to move in here. Now I can become neighbors with my best friends, along with the other residents of Barangay Baras. We're going to be like a family here.
Residents not only took steps to conserve water, but are also taking preventive measures to safeguard against flooding in the future.
Before, whenever it rained, water would flood into our homes. We have elevated these prefab homes so that residents staying here won't have to worry about floods anymore.
While in Ormoc, residents are also working tirelessly to complete the assembly of prefab homes. Ronald Salazar's family of 7 look forward to the day they can move into their new home.
Tzu Chi's Cash for Work participants are working so hard to rebuild their homes and community. Although I'm not a recipient of Tzu Chi's prefab home, I feel like it's me the Tzu Chi Foundation has helped. As a journalist, I could sense the happiness and joy of the local residents.
Once these prefab homes have been completed, residents will finally be able to put down roots and have a chance to build a better future. Every June marks the beginning of the school year in Myanmar, a time that also happens to fall around the start of the country's rainy season. Schools in the countryside often face the problem of cancelled classes due to leaky roofs and damaged school supplies. To help address the problem, volunteers traveled to Thanh Township to bring supplies to 19 schools, including one that required a boat ride to reach. Let's take a look. The township of Thanh lies about an hour outside the country's capital of Yangon. Today, volunteers are here with hope for many a child. Myanmar's rainy season runs from June to October. Taking advantage of a break in the weather, volunteers travel by boat to reach Thanh desert village.
The other schools that have received supplies are easier to get to and therefore get more supplies. This school, as you need to take a boat to reach it, is not as convenient to get to. The school supply manufacturer therefore asked Tzu Chi to help deliver the supplies to the school.
Waiting for the volunteers at the other shore are the teachers and students of Thanh Desert Elementary School. The school, the area's only elementary school, was built 14 years ago with donations from the villagers. However, 14 years on, the school is now desperately in need of repair.
During rainy season on cloudy days, as we don't have indoor lighting, the classrooms become very dark and we have to temporarily suspend class. The roof also continually leaks. When it gets bad, we get the students to gather at the center of the classrooms and use buckets to catch the water.
Since 2010, volunteers have been delivering school supplies to schools in Myanmar's countryside. This year's distribution has expanded to include 12 more schools, bringing the total to 19 schools and over 10,000 students and teachers helped.
We are so thankful for the Buddhist Tzu Chi Foundation. You have traveled all the way from Taiwan to bring needed school supplies to our children.
Tzu Chi's footsteps of love here in Myanmar have continued to quicken as volunteers bring hope to more and more children. Since 2004, Tzu Chi has been holding free clinics in the South American country of Paraguay. As Paraguay is a geographic hub, the clinics have been attended not only by the citizens, but also those seeking treatment from as far away as Brazil. A mainstay of the clinics has been Tima Dr. Ling Ping-chen, who has offered his expertise in Chinese medicine for over a decade. Recently, to celebrate the Free Clinic's 10th anniversary, a get-together was held at the Tzu Chi Ciudad del Este Liaison Office for both medical workers and former patients. Let's take a look.
So many people, not only from Paraguay, but also Argentina and even Brazil, came to seek treatment. We never imagined it would be that widespread.
The question on everyone's minds was, why was Tzu Chi seeing patients from other countries during its clinics in Paraguay? As it turns out, Paraguay, due to its central location, is a transportation hub for the continent, and thus sees large amounts of trade and people passing through its borders. This, coupled with local medical conditions, explains the far reach of Tzu Chi's free clinics. This picture from 10 years ago shows Paraguay's Ciudad del Este volunteers holding their first ever free clinic in the country.
It's hard to imagine that it has been 10 years. In that time, although many things have occurred, we have faced them all head on. We didn't try to hide and weren't scared. Regardless of the difficult circumstances, we soldiered on.
We have so much respect for Dr. Lin. His spirit of service and his initial resolve have never faltered. Although Tzu Chi is a Buddhist organization, Dr. Lin is in fact a Christian. But that matters not, as great love is the same everywhere.
Despite having been in 2 car accidents which left him partially crippled, Dr. Ling has never missed a free clinic over the past 10 years. Facing the country's undeveloped healthcare system and lack of public health concepts, he says the main problem actually lies somewhere else.
Actually, what is the most troublesome is that although many people have health insurance, it is extremely difficult for them to get the medication they need. In light of this problem, we have found that acupuncture is a good solution, as it is effective without the use of medication.
For the past 3,650 days, regardless of the challenges faced, volunteers and TEMA personnel alike have brought a love that transcends faiths, as well as national boundaries, to the needy here in South America. On September 2004, the first Jing Si Books and Cafe in Malaysia was opened in Kuala Lumpur's bustling Bukit Bintang district. Now 10 years later, there are a total of 11 Jing Si Books and Cafes found throughout the country. Although no ceremony was held to celebrate the 10th year anniversary of the first Jing Si Books, employees took a moment to quietly thank the man that made it possible. Here's more.
Bukit Bintang in downtown Kuala Lumpur is the city's entertainment and shopping center. 10 years ago, a piece of this valuable real estate was donated to Tzu Chi by Lin Xiaoshi, allowing Tzu Chi to open its first Jing Si Books and Cafe in the country.
10 years ago, after a visit to Jing Si abode, I asked myself how I could help Tzu Chi. I decided to try to help more people become familiar with Tzu Chi.
3 years ago, on a visit to Malaysia, Australian Colin Clark fell in love with the Jing Si Books and Cafes. Now every time he travels to Malaysia, he makes it a point to stop by for a visit.
I always like to come here, one, because I like good coffee, but I always like the atmosphere and the energy, and very tranquil and very friendly.
Sisters Huang Ziyin and Huang Ziqi have volunteered at the cafe for 3 years, with the store becoming something of a second home for the two. When free, Huang Ziqi will draw the Jing Si Books and Cafe family, showing how close the bonds have become.
Here, I've learned to serve tea to customers and how to politely make conversation with them.
At home, I can now serve tea to my parents.
This place has changed me a lot. From a businessman to someone that is now slowly learning to walk the Bodhisattva path.
我们没有什么大礼物送给你啦，可是满满的感恩，就是画在这，跟祝福画在这张小卡，到时我献给你。
With the power to change lives, it is certain that this first Jing Si Books and Cafe in Malaysia will be around for many more years to come.
In Taoyuan, Taiwan, a brother-sister pair, both mentally challenged, have been living alone since their father passed away and their mentally challenged mother moved back to her parents' home. 3 years ago, the pair began collecting recyclables. However, their collection efforts were not matched by similar efforts to sell them. Soon, the family's 2-story house became a landfill, and following complaints from their neighbors, the local borough head made a call to Tzu Chi for help. Soon after, 40 volunteers were mobilized to clean the family's house and also teach the siblings how to maintain their home in the future. Let's take a look at what was maybe the house cleaning job of the year.
Before entering, volunteers put on surgical masks, a sign of things to come. Stepping inside, volunteers find garbage and old recyclables filling every nook and cranny, essentially turning the house into a smelly landfill.
Fleas from the house jumped up to my second floor. When the wind blows in my direction, the smell is so bad. Their house is just filled with garbage. When they cook food, they will use a gas stove. I'm worried it could lead to a fire.
As the family's home is not only unsanitary to the extreme, but also a public health safety hazard, volunteers get to work as quickly as possible. Starting in the living room, volunteers first spray everything down with disinfectant, including this unusable bedroom. For the past 3 years, the mentally challenged brother and sister have been collecting recyclables. Now their 2-story home is filled with rotting garbage and discarded recyclables, covering the floors and blocking doors.
We needed to get them on board with the cleaning process, so we first asked them if we could clean up, and after they both nodded in agreement, we then started. Despite the smell, the volunteers throw themselves into the job, and at the end, the transformation is amazing. The cleaning goes deep down, with floors and walls scrubbed free of dirt. Also helping were several first-timers. Despite their age and inexperience, they unflinchingly searched through the rotting trash for anything that could be recycled. We no longer randomly pick up things. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
After 5.5 hours and buckets of sweat, 2 trucks full of garbage as well as 2 trucks of recyclables are hauled away. Volunteers will continue to look after the family in the days ahead, but remind the brother and sister to do their part in keeping their house clean.
In Haiyan County, Taiwan, the Tzu Chi Foundation has long worked to renovate seniors' homes to provide them with a safer living environment. In Xincheng Township, Tzu Chi volunteers recently helped a 77-year-old solitary senior rebuild his home. As the condition of the senior's home was beyond a quick and simple repair, a project was started to give the senior a more stable, permanent housing.
Opening the door to his new home, 77-year-old Lin Qinghe welcomes Tzu Chi volunteers inside. On this auspicious day, Grandpa Lin also pays respects to his ancestors, giving them the good news.
Tzu Chi has been caring for the seniors in the Hualien region for a while now. We conduct surveys to see how safe their current home is. and how we could improve the home safety. This project also includes long-term financial aid and home visits.
The beams of the original home were fragile to the touch, as the house was built from bamboo by Grandpa Lin and his brother over 60 years ago. Upon making repairs to the original roof, volunteers saw a bigger problem.
When we were removing the roof, we saw how the walls had also collapsed. We couldn't save it. The beams we removed were hollowed out. So for safety reasons, we decided to bulldoze the building and rebuild the entire house.
Thus, plans for a more permanent steel home with improved lighting and ventilation were put in place. Concerned for his safety, volunteers also discussed the changes with Grandpa Lin.
We're making it so it's not as slippery and easier to clean up, because the shower is something you use every day.
Moved by the volunteers' care, the senior has started to donate coins to his bamboo coin bank.
You have built such a nice home for me. It's very beautiful. I like it very much. When I have spare change, I'll donate it, as it helps to benefit the less fortunate like me.
Upon completion of the home, volunteers were mobilized to clear away dust and bring over secondhand furniture. Thanks to the love and care of Tzu Chi volunteers, Grandpa Lin now lives in a stable home filled with love.
In our next report, we meet Tzu Chi volunteer Liu Desheng, who discovered that he had Parkinson's disease some 7 years ago. Instead of feeling sorry for himself, Liu decided to live peacefully with his illness. Besides being an active recycling volunteer, Liu has also dedicated himself wholeheartedly to Tzu Chi's medical mission.
Carefully cutting off the bottle ring from plastic bottles is Tzu Chi volunteer Liu Shengde, who suffers from Parkinson's disease. Although Liu's legs shake uncontrollably due to his illness, he remains determined to complete his task. In fact, Liu and his wife have already devoted themselves to Tzu Chi's missions back in the United States.
If you dedicate yourself wholeheartedly to Tzu Chi's missions, you'll gain happiness. This is something very beneficial to us.
Master Zhenyan said, if something is right, we just need to continue doing it. I have gained tremendous joy.
After returning to Taiwan, the couple decided to dedicate themselves to Tzu Chi's medical and recycling missions. Liu says the joy of serving others give him and his wife the strength to move forward.
We have learned to embrace and live alongside his illness. We realize that this is a part of the law of nature. There are a lot of people that are living in greater hardship than us.
Seeing her husband's body shake uncontrollably, Wang gently puts her hand on his legs, express her care. In spite of the obstacles along the way, in the years to come, the couple will continue to walk firmly on the Bodhisattva path.
In our next report, we turn to Malaysia, where children and parents of a Tzu Chi parent-child class visited a care recipient family, only to be amazed at their continued sense of optimism and determination. First, however, we follow a group of Tzu Shaos from the Batu Pahat Tzu Chi Academy as they call on a care recipient family, bring not only love and attention, but the gift of wisdom as well. Let's take a look. Visiting their first care recipient household, students hold back, uncertain of what to expect. Care recipient Xie Caiyun is blind in both eyes, partially crippled and needs regular dialysis. However, her husband's optimism has allowed her to open her heart and home to the visiting Tzu Shaos. Feeling a bit more comfortable, the children then gathered to massage Xie Caiyun. The children next offer gifts, among which is a Jing Si aphorism booklet purchased from the money they saved up in their bamboo banks.
When you have time, you can give it a look and read it to Auntie here. You can also read a bit of it before going to bed every night.
A multitude of blessings have found their way into this care recipient's home thanks to the love of Tzu Shaos.
Look, it's bad, right? I cover it with stockings.
Despite having both legs amputated, Grandmother Wang gets along living alone just fine. What she needs most is just simple companionship. Tzu Xiao's offer just that, as well as help clean Wang's home, both inside and out. Through home visitations, parents and children not only give, but receive as well. By the cleanness of their home, it is hard to believe that this Indian care recipient family relies on subsidies to survive. Their 13-year-old son is Tzu Chi Scholarship recipient, as well as a Tzu Chi member who donates money in support of good causes.
Although the family is poor, they still manage to rely on themselves. They are hardworking and do what needs to be done. It is not every person that can live life in this way. It is moving to see how they are making their way through life.
Planting seeds of goodness in the hearts of children, in a cycle of goodness, these seeds become acts of virtue that in turn bring blessings to even more people. Heading over to Vietnam, Tzu Chi's missions are centralized in and around Binh Duong province, as many Taiwanese businesses are located there. Recently, the province's Ministry of Foreign Affairs referred 50 impoverished households in North Tan Nguyen district to Tzu Chi. So on September 14th, volunteers prepared relief items and set out to see how they can offer their assistance.
Unlike the bustling industrial area of Binh Duong province, North Tan Nguyen district is a quiet and rural countryside. On this day, Tzu Chi volunteers set out to visit 50 households. For those families to whom volunteers cannot get to by car, they set out on foot instead. Visiting one senior, volunteers find him living in desperate poverty.
三餐都吃什么？
Ông vậy ông ăn uống được bình thường không?
Not only bringing warmth and care, volunteers also gift these families with relief goods. For one care recipient who suffers from diabetes, it is exactly what she needed.
Don't cry, it's going to be okay. Let's have a chat. We are all friends here. You can tell us your worries.
Accompanied by social workers on this visit, Tzu Chi volunteers lend an ear for the impoverished to vent their troubles. In the days ahead, volunteers look forward to helping out as much as they can.
At the end of today's program, we go to the Philippines, where Tzu Chi volunteers are working around the clock to complete the assembly of prefab homes and classrooms in Haiyan battered Ormoc City. Lending their assistance in Tzu Chi's efforts were two foreigners from a US NPO, all hands volunteers. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching. See you next week.